Okay, I'm here at Phoenix Comicon Day 2 with Kurt Busiek. I hope I pronounced the last name correctly.
You did not.
Okay.
Want to try again?
Busiek?
No.
Okay.
You one more try, and then you die.
Busiek?
Uh-oh. I'm sorry. Everybody out there, you have to track him down and kill him now. It's Busiek.
Busiek, okay.
It's the E is basically an embellishment.
Okay. So I'm here, I'm going to ask, you agreed to do an interview with us, Kurt, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Okay. So we had a whole list of questions ready, and we did some research on the interview that you did with Marv Wolfman, who's also at Phoenix Comicon a few years ago. We feel that was one of the best Q&As ever. To start off with about Green Lantern Corps, this was your first published work with DC. After your time at DC seemed to have run its course, Green Lantern turned out to be a return ticket to them. Were you a fan of the Green Lantern universe?
Did Green Lantern turn out to be my return ticket to DC? I don't remember that. What are you referring to there? I mean, well, first to answer the first half of the question.
Sorry, the Green Lantern Corps.
The Green Lanterns. I was a Green Lantern fan from early on. When I discovered him in comics, I thought, what a cool idea, what a great character. So when I was asked, when I was pitching stuff at DC, I was asked to pitch a Tales of the Green Lantern Corps story, and I came up with like 18 of them, and so that was my first sale, and I was very happy to be working with the Green Lanterns because I've always liked them. The return to DC with the Corps, I actually don't know what you're referring to.
Oh, okay. With the interview that we found when we did research with the Marv Wolfman interview, we noticed that some of the things that were asked about it. You started reading comics in early teens, and you wind up pitching dozens and dozens of story ideas to DC editors shortly after college. Did you become a voracious reader of comics in that time span?
Oh yeah.
And which characters did you gravitate towards?
The first comic that I picked up that I still own, the point at which I became a regular reader and a collector was Daredevil 120, and I was Daredevil was the character that hooked me in. I also around that time started buying back issues of the original X-Men. I was a big fan of those too, but I branched out. What interested me about comics was the interconnected nature of the big universes. So I quickly branched out from Daredevil and the X-Men to Thor to Iron Man to Avengers to the totality of the Marvel Universe. The only books that I skipped were books that weren't superhero books, that weren't immediately connected to the ongoing story. And when I moved over, started reading DC as well. I started reading DC because Steve Englehart, who was one of my favorite writers, had left Marvel, and he started writing Batman and Justice League. So I started reading Batman and Justice League, and then from there I branched out into reading Flash and Superboy and Superman and Wonder Woman, and pretty much picking up the DC line as well.
The whole DC universe.
Yeah,
basically.
And so that was where I started, but then I started reading things like ElfQuest and just continued to find new and different things that I liked.
And then after you left DC, you wound up going over to Marvel and pitching for Power Man and Iron Fist. Can you tell us about that process and why that title?
Well, I wouldn't say I left DC. I had sold them that Green Lantern Corps story, and I did another two-part Green Lantern story that never got published. But at the time I was writing that material, I was working as, I guess these days you'd call it a stringer. I was the New York correspondent for a comic book fanzine called Comics Feature, which meant I went to Marvel's weekly press conferences, and I recorded their press conference information about what was coming out and who was drawing what cover and things like that, typed it all up and sent it to the publishers so they could use it in the news column. And I had noticed at the time that they had announced a new writer. Joe Duffy had left Power Man and Iron Fist. There was a new writer going to take over, but they kept on announcing that the next issue would be written by Denny O'Neil, who was the book's editor. And I'm a smart guy. I thought, well, if Denny keeps writing these and they keep saying this other guy's going to take over, apparently he's not getting his scripts in. So maybe they could use help. Maybe Denny doesn't actually want to be writing the issue every month. So I wrote up a plot outline, about a page and a half, that could work for Power Man, and I sent it to Denny with a note saying that I was pitching this as a fill-in, and I was already writing professionally for DC. And Denny gave me a call. He liked the story, and he said, write it up as a spec script, and we'll see. So I wrote a full script. He bought it. That became Power Man and Iron Fist 90. The reason I picked Power Man was because he was available. If the guy who was supposed to write Power Man had been supposed to write Moon Knight, I'd have come up with a Moon Knight story to pitch. Very much on the theory that you look for which doors are open. Yeah. I like Power Man. I liked Iron Fist. I liked Iron Fist a lot because I'd been a Claremont fan and I'd been reading Iron Fist. Hadn't been reading Power Man as much until Iron Fist teamed up with him. Okay. But when I started writing the book on an ongoing basis, I went out and I got all the back issues of Power Man and read them, and that was why I had the background to bring back Chemistro and Shades and Comanche and other older Power Man villains. So I had actually written a review of Power Man and Iron Fist for Comics Feature just a little earlier than that, and it wrapped up saying that at some point Joe Duffy's going to leave this book, and I have no idea who they'd get to replace her, because I'd have no idea what to do with the book. But I pitched for the book because it was open. I was looking for work, so I had about figured out what I would want to do with the book when they fired me. So it goes.
And which leads into our next question. You end up being, and these are your words, as you just said, fired. Up until that point, you've dealt with decline pitch and closed doors, but this seems like would feel different in your own words, I believe. Was it different, or was it just an end to another freelance assignment?
Well, I mean, I worked up this whole ideas for what I wanted to do, so being told, no, we don't want you anymore, was very disappointing. I found out, what I was told was the reason they were changing the entire creative team because sales on Power Man and Iron Fist were flat. This was the 80s, other comic books were going up in sales, and this was flat, so the editor-in-chief told the editor, shake it up, give me a new creative team on this book. And afterward, I found out that Joe had made the book sell well. When Joe stopped writing the book and Denny started writing fill-ins, they were one-issue stories without continuity going on, and the sales started to slump. When I was on the book, sales leveled out. They didn't go up, but they didn't go down. Then I left the book, and they just kept going down and down and down until it was canceled. So you look at that and you go, well, that guy was doing something right. and possibly, if we've been working at it, if we've been saying, okay, this is we wanna get the sales up, then I would bet we could have done that. But I think Denny was kind of marking time until something better came along, and it was my first ongoing series, so I wasn't thinking about it in terms of, how can I improve the sales status of this. I was just thinking, what do I do next month? What do I do? I'll do this.
And as you said, you barely you were freelancing at that point after you had left Iron Man Power Fist, or Iron Fist and Power Man, sorry.
One of them.
You didn't pack it in, you didn't quit writing. Did it ever occur to you during that time to give up?
I didn't have anything else I wanted to do. There were periods, at one point I I kept finding enough work to get by, and at one point I was after I lost the Powerman assignment. By then I was living up in Syracuse again, where I had gone to school, and I needed a job. I needed money, so I got a job with a local Sears. I was the guy who called you when you called on the phone and said my refrigerator doesn't work. I was the guy who told you the repairman would be out in a month.
Okay.
I did that for a day, and it was so depressing. Because, if your refrigerator's not working, you need it to work again tomorrow, not in a month. So I just didn't go back the second day. I called them and told them I couldn't do it anymore. And I took a bus down to New York and slept on a friend's couch for a while, looking for work in the comics industry that would get me back on my feet. And when I found enough work, I piled everything I had in Syracuse into a moving van and moved back down to the New York City area again. So I guess that answers the question.
Very well. And some of your fans may not know